very welcome back to our second Rural Digital Bytes session. For those of us joining us for the first time, Rural is an Erasmus-funded European project focused on digital innovation in rural tourism. Last week, we had a webinar session that looked at how AI can help us to manage destination data and itineraries. And today we're going to shift our focus to the voice of the destination. So how do we tell stories that actually stop people from scrolling? And is it possible to build a strong digital reach without a massive marketing budget? There's been a lot of interest in the session today. In fact, it has the highest number of registrations so far in the Rural series, which tells us that even though social media has been around for years, there's still a strong appetite to understand how authentic digital storytelling actually works in practice. And that brings me to today's guest. I'm delighted to welcome Val Robus. Val is an independent digital creator, blogger, and podcaster who has been documenting the northwest of Ireland for 17 years. Long before social media became central to tourism promotion, Val was building an online community through her blog, Magnum Lady, developing a trusted digital voice rooted in this place. She has led and developed grassroots community-led campaigns such as #LoveSligo and #LoveIreland. And she's shown how authentic digital storytelling can scale, having reached over 16 million people in a single day. So today we're going to explore how that kind of storytelling is shaped through tone, platforms and formats, also consistency, and hopefully there'll be some takeaways that rural destinations and tourism businesses can take away as well. So Val, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for asking me, Grace.
So 17 years you have been blogging and creating digital content. You have also won national awards with massive digital reach. You've prepared a presentation for us today, and we might start with that. It really gives a good insight into your work and what you've been doing. And from there, we'll have a little discussion, maybe a little deeper discussion on what's included in the presentation. And as last week, those of you who are here, if you have any questions for Val, please feel free to pop them into the chat as we're going through the presentation, or as Val and I are having the discussion, and we will get to those towards the end. So I'm going to share my screen, Val, and feel free to talk us through. Hopefully everyone can see the screen. Okay, so we'll start, Val, with this first slide here where you tell us about the concept of what you've been doing.
Well, the concept really began because I saw a lot of negativity on social media after COVID. Everybody was really down in the dumps, and I wanted something to lift people's spirits. So I just came up with the idea of a few days really throughout the year. So I did a Love Sligo campaign because I'm a blow-in from here. I've lived here for over 30 years. And I saw things that maybe other people didn't see. I think when you come to a place with fresh eyes, you see things that maybe some people take for granted. So, for example, these two goats in the road, we just happened to be traveling to a town near us called Ballina. And this is a place called the Ladies' Brae. It's absolutely stunning. And these two wild goats were in the middle of the road. You can't buy experiences like that. And it's just what happened. So I was like to my husband, stop the car, hopped out, took a photo, carried on. So that was really the concept. The days were to encourage people to share their positive news about Sligo and about Ireland, their businesses, if they were artists, and everybody really got involved. And I was amazed by the traction. Now, it was a very long day. I had sore shoulders at the end of it because I was trying to scroll through all the social media channels. But I loved doing it, and I loved seeing a positive spin on social media. It can be a very negative place, but I think the more we promote it with positivity, the better it is.
And Val, I should say as well that you've done these campaigns single-handedly. These are your passion projects.
Yeah, no budget. There's no budget. I don't get paid. It's just me and a computer. So yeah, it's just about in encouraging people. We've all got stories. Wherever you live in the world, there's a story, there's characters, there's scenery, there's things that you want to tell other people about. You might find it mundane or boring, but we don't know about it. So tell people about it. Encourage people to come to your areas. Share your passion. And I think when it's a passion project, it shines through. Like I'm lucky, I suppose some of the agencies did come on board, like the Sligo Volunteer Centre. We did one on Valentine's Day, and they went round to some of their organisations, so charities, and they handed out hearts and they did little videos. And it was just lovely to see that kind of inspiration. I see Mayo North are also on the call. They also took part in the Love Ireland campaign and shared their stories too. And it's just lovely to see that people were really buying into it. Just a one person idea, because when you start these, you don't know if anyone's going to join in. You don't know if you're going to be sitting there all on your own, and sometimes you are. Certain times throughout the day you're just there, but then you'll spark something in someone and they'll join in.
That's lovely. And the first campaign then, Val, was the hashtag Love Sligo, Heart of
Yes.
Sligo one. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that particular campaign.
Yeah, so that was again just a one day. I didn't, my downfall is I don't plan these things. So I think it was like the day before, I was like seeing all the negativity on social media, and I was thinking, okay, we're going to do a Love Sligo. I'm going to do a Love Sligo campaign. And so I didn't contact anybody because there wasn't time to do it. And I just shared a lot of my images, a lot of the stories, a lot of the places that maybe people don't know about, and just to encourage people to come to Sligo and to enjoy a holiday, and to encourage locals to go and explore. So it was really good. I think we got a 12 million reach on that day.
That was amazing. And I mean, as you say, for something that wasn't planned, there's lots of, I'm sure, businesses and organizations on the phone who have planned campaigns weeks and months in advance, and you know they mightn't have been such a success. So that I think the reach and the that you've built up and the following must have really helped with that.
It was, well, I suppose there was a bit of a following, but nothing I didn't expect to get in the millions. And like for a long time, we were trending at number one for a couple of days actually on social media. And for a small, I suppose, a small county, small enough county in Ireland, to trend worldwide is just something else. It was just amazing.
And I think then for those of the people who were here last week, they would have heard at the end of the call that Aidan, our speaker last week, really sung your praises. And I mean, that's really, I suppose, the proof of why he was doing so. You've really done a lot for Sligo and for Sligo tourism and promoting the county. And the Heart of Sligo Day has continued into 2025. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so that was the Valentine's Day one. Again, it was about share your love for Sligo. And again, same structure, long, long days. I always think it's a really good idea. And then I get about 2 hours in and go, why am I doing this? Because you have to be always on. It's the day where you can't shut off. Like there's no lunch break, there's no dinner break, there's no any break, because I retweet every post, I share every post, and that's how you build. Like it's about collaboration, and that's really one of my things. It's collaboration, not competition. And if we all join together, we can do so much more. So yeah, it's a very long day. I haven't done one this year yet. I don't know whether I will again. I'm getting a bit old now, to be honest.
I don't know about that. You might be inspired after
You
today
never
to
know.
rekindle it. Yeah. Tell us a little then. You were honoured to receive the Spirit of Sligo Award as well, most recently.
That was in 2021. I was really amazed by that, because that's run by the council. I didn't expect, well, I was excited anyway to get nominated. And then when I won, it was just like, I suppose, being recognised by the town where I live and that I do so much to promote was just something very special.
Lovely, lovely. And I mean, it's not just the county council who have recognised you either. I mean, you've been on national radio for your campaigns, and more recently, the Love Ireland campaign was featured on national radio. I've actually just recently listened back to this, a really lovely piece, actually, this one.
Yeah, that was very exciting. That was a national radio station, and they phoned me. Well, they sent me a message, and they were like, "We love what you're doing. Can you come on air?" And I was like, "Yes." And just so delighted to be featured nationally. It's huge. Like, I'm just one person, so I'm always very grateful. I'm very humbled when that happens.
Yeah, that's lovely, lovely. We have a few more slides left, and then we might go into the content a little bit deeper and how you structure your campaigns and what's involved in them. But first, there's another award that you won as well, the Sockies Award.
Yeah, I won this twice, and then I came second another year. So again, I turned into Beyonce. Don't even look at that slide. There's a film going around somewhere. I can't watch it again. I was like, something took over in me. I'm usually quite shy. So, but that was amazing because I was up against like Toyota Ireland, Dogs Trust, the Oireachtas, which is the Irish government. I was up against all these people. They were all in the same room as me. I just couldn't believe it, and I just won. Yeah, I won that award twice. So I only made the event in person on one occasion, but I'm still recovering.
And the Sockies Awards are just to let our European friends know, these are social media awards in Ireland, national awards that are run every year. So Val has been in the running for those twice in a row. So in terms of, I suppose, best practices and learning from somebody who's at the top of her game, that's why we wanted to introduce you all to Val today. Your blog, Val, has been running for 17 years. I think you had a birthday during the week, so congratulations
Yeah,
on
thank
that.
you. Yeah, put my alter ego. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm really happy about that. And then 9 million Facebook views in December, which is huge. So, and again, it's all organic. I don't pay to promote any post because I'm not funded by anybody. So it's all voluntary and all organic, and it's quite something to get that reach, when you're not paying.
Yeah, yeah, lovely. And podcasting then is something else that you've kind of moved into in more recent times as well. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm not content enough with just writing. I always wanted to be a DJ, actually. It was a bucket list thing that I wanted to do. And a local community radio station invited me along to be a DJ for a day, and that lasted for about 3 years. But the trouble with that is you have to stop talking to play music, and I just like talking, basically. And I'm also very nosy. So the podcast gives me a chance to go and interrogate people, no, talk to people and find out their story. And also, because I'm not writing, it's their voices, not mine. And that's very important. When I write the blog, it's always my voice. And I'm well aware that, even if you don't want to put a spin on things, you probably do because it's your own voice. But when you're speaking to people, it's about getting their voice and their story. And I think that's very important. And that's what the podcast does.
And that's lovely. And I think it leads lovely into the next slide as well, where you talk about, in terms of promoting tourism digitally, the need to tell authentic local stories.
Absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of influencers going around, and that's fine, but they're telling it from their perspective. They're not actually getting the voices of the local people. We've all got characters. If you think about your local village, your local town, your local area, you can think of the characters off the top of your head. And these are the people that maybe don't get their stories out there. They're not. I did a podcast recently, Leitrim Women Through Time, and as they were saying, it's not the people that win the big awards that are celebrated. It's about the local people, the local stories, and the authenticity and the pride of their place, and that comes through. And when you talk to people, your local people, you're stirring a moment in people's lives, and you're giving other people a chance to have their story told. And I think that's very important. And I think in an age of social media, we're connected online, but we're slightly disconnected as well. So to give people a spotlight through the podcast or the blog, it's very important, I think.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah, and it makes, I think, a lot of sense as well. So the last slide in our presentation before we go into kind of a deeper discussion, you have some kind of takeaways that you've noted.
Yeah, so you don't need a budget. You don't need a budget at all, as I've proved. I think the digital storytelling is important. It just gives people, if they see their location featured, they just think it's really lovely. And when it's a human approach, it comes from the heart, it comes from the passion, and it's giving everyone's voice and letting them tell their stories. And I just think it's very important.
Lovely. Thanks, Val, for preparing those slides. I think it gives people a really nice introduction to you and your work, the campaigns you've been involved in, the success of them as well. So if anyone has any questions already, please feel free to pop them in the chat, and we'll have a little bit more of a discussion now. Some of the things that stood out for me, Val, for small rural destination, what would you say are the essential ingredients needed to make something like a local hashtag, like hashtag Love Sligo, for example, take off organically? What did you find worked well?
I just think keep it relevant. So mine is exactly what it says on the tin. It's showing your love for Sligo. You need to keep a hashtag short, and so that people will kind of buy into it, and just encourage them to use it. You can kind of get away without using hashtags as much now, but it's still great for one day, and it's really what helps the algorithms pick up on what's trending and what isn't. So that the Love Sligo and Heart of Sligo, they just helped boost the profile a bit.
And we talked last week with Aidan, and he was saying about the importance of kind of county-wide representation, trying to involve as many local businesses as possible. And I know you've mentioned there about trying to help businesses collaborate and kind of promote each other. What are your kind of thoughts or ideas on that?
Yeah, I'd love to see more of that. There's a town in Ireland called Westport, and they really do it well. Like if one restaurant is busy, if one hotel is busy, they'll send people on to the next place. And I do think that's hugely important. And I think it's something that we don't embrace enough of, that it needs to be a collaboration. If we all join together, our voices are stronger, and you'll encourage more people to come. Like if, for example, with a restaurant, they're not going to go to the same restaurant if people are on holiday every day for the 7 days. They're not going to do it. So join together and go, right, you've been here, now why don't you try here, and why don't you try, it's all about supporting each other. There's business for everybody if you just kind of embrace that collaborative aspect.
That's lovely. Something you also talk about a lot is the idea of participation, not perfection. So, maybe you can tell us more about that.
Definitely. Done is better than perfect. Don't overthink it. And this is an issue that I've seen so many times across social media channels. People may be thinking for a week or 10 days about what post they're going to put out, and it's going to be perfect. Just do it. Don't overthink it, because the more you overthink it, like there's a video of me walking a cow and walking a pig. I look like I've been dragged through a hedge backwards. Does it matter? No, because I'm telling a story that you can go an hour away from where I live and you can cuddle a cow. And it doesn't matter what I look like. I look how I look. It's grand. But it's about just do it. I find that even now quite uncomfortable myself to be in a video, but I'm trying to embrace it. I used to be the same with the podcast. I hated my own voice. Now I've listened to myself so many times, I don't bat an eyelid anymore. And I just get on and do it. So maybe there might be a few more videos of me. God love everybody.
Very good. Your own background, Val, through your presentation there, we saw lovely photographs that you had taken. You're an artist, a photographer, now a podcaster. There might be people on the call here who are saying, I'm not a creative person, or I'm not that tech savvy. What would you say to them?
Neither was I. Neither was I. I remember when the internet first came out, and I said to my husband, what a load of rubbish. This is never going to take off. And then I started writing a blog, and he's like, now look at you. So no, you don't have to be creative. You don't have to be artistic. I wasn't a photographer either, really. My dad was a photographer, and I'd always it was a hobby. And then I was on this internet forum, and someone said, why don't we take a photo a day? And this was in 2007, and I've carried on ever since. And then with the podcast again, I just thought, I'd like to be a DJ. I'd like to do a podcast, and went on a very basic course. There's a company in Ireland called the MSL ETB, and they did a podcast course and it was free, and I went along, and out of the class 2 years ago, I'm the only one still podcasting. So I just think that anyone, we've all got smartphones now. You can record voices on them, you can do short videos on your phone, you can do short interviews with people. Just have a go. Like, nobody's going to die if it's a bad social media post. You'll just kind of know what works and what doesn't work. And if you don't try it, you're never going to know. You're just going to be overthinking.
And a variety of content, I suppose, appealing to a variety of audiences as well.
Yes, definitely. You'll see what works, and it's only through over time that you'll see what your audience likes and what they don't like. So you can kind of, I mean, I do post things that interest me, and I suppose a lot of my readers have been with me a long time now, so they know kind of the content I will post, and it's always positive. There's too much negativity out there in the world. I don't want to add to that. So it's 100% positive. And if I've had a bad experience, I won't write about it, because I, number one, don't think it's fair on the business. We all have bad days. And number two, nobody wants to read about me moaning. Really. My husband can hear that. Nobody else needs to know.
Very good, very good. We might just touch back a little bit more on the topic of last week and see, if it has relevance to what we're talking about today. So last week we looked at the Ideas Engine, an AI tool, and I'm curious, in your world of storytelling, digital marketing and place promotion, where do you see AI helping, or where do you think it should stay away?
I think it can be helpful. For example, you could give it a style of your writing and ask it to come up with content, and it can do that quite easily. But you don't want to lose, like, AI is great, but it doesn't have the heart of a person. So I think maybe as well, if you were researching a holiday destination or something like that, as Aidan's AI tool demonstrates, it's quite handy to give you tips. But I would also do your own research too, because, maybe a place that AI tells you is fabulous might not be. It's quite early days, I think, in AI yet. But it's definitely, it has its purposes, but I don't think it will ever overtake the passion of a person or of people, that have lived the stories that they're telling.
Oh, that's lovely, and I agree with you totally in that. We might kind of get towards kind of some practical advice, and I know you have lots and you've shared some in your presentation, but if we put ourselves in the shoes of a rural business owner, and there's many of them on the call here today, if they have 30 minutes a week to do something in the space of digital storytelling, what should they spend that time on to have the most authentic impact?
I think for me, the short videos work amazingly well. Like, for example, I was in town this morning. I had an early morning meeting, and I did a 10-second video of the river. We've got this gorgeous river that flows through Sligo town. And I've been doing that quite regularly, just the river. I don't put any music on it. I don't put any text. Well, I might say good morning from Sligo, or this is the river this morning, or something similar. It takes me under a minute to do that. And like, one of them that I put up of the river got 75,000 views. Again, it's all organic, but you're tapping into a pride of place, maybe people that have moved away, but they still love to see their town. And that's the messages I'm getting from people overseas, is that they just love, they feel like they're there. And you want to trigger the heartstrings in people, and it does work. So it's quite easy, half an hour, you can do quite a lot. But what I would say is, don't put up one post and expect it to go viral, and then don't do anything for the next 3 months and go, well, that didn't work. I post several times a day, almost every day. And if I miss a day, people will be messaging, asking if I'm okay. So, they expect it now. It's a lot of work. And I would say, if people are leaving you comments, try to reply. The amount of times where I see people ignoring comments. No, it's quite busy, and sometimes I miss people, and I do apologize if I miss anyone, but I do try to comment, obviously not if they're negative, and you will get negativity, but for the positive people I try to comment, because otherwise it's like walking up to someone in the street and going hello and then walking away and not acknowledging you. If somebody's taken the time to leave a comment, it's nice to reply back to them, I think.
Yeah, lovely. No, that makes sense. And I mean, if you want to build an audience, you can't do that without having conversations.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like
Lovely.
a friendship. Yeah.
Brilliant. No, that's lovely, Val. I can see we've got about 5 minutes left. So if people want to follow your journey, can you tell us again the name of your blog, and where they can find your updates and your podcast?
Yeah, so it's Magnum Lady across all the channels. I think the Facebook one is Magnum Lady's blog, Sligo and Beyond, or something like that. But on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, um, it's Magnum Lady. I'm on YouTube, but I don't get as much out of that. So it's Val Robus on YouTube. And then the website is magnumlady.com, and the podcast is Magnum Ladies Podcast. So I'm kind of everywhere.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much, Val, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
I'm just going to wrap up a little bit because this is the second of the two Irish webinars. So just want to take a brief moment to reflect on what we've learned over the last 2 weeks from here in Ireland. We've explored two very different but equally interesting sides of the digital coin. Last week we spoke with Aidan McCormack and the Ideas Engine. We saw the power of building a robust digital engine using AI and data-driven planning to manage visitor flow responsibly. Today we've spoken to Val, who's really shown us that the heart must sit inside that engine. 17 years of experience, telling us that authentic human-led storytelling, local pride, community collaboration is really the way to go to build long-term trust and visibility for rural destinations. So thanks again, Val, for being with us.